Good evening, everyone. My name is Sher Sultani, and you're watching Parvaz TV and Decay TV. Our guest today is Honorable Zoe Royer, so Member of the Parliament of Port Moody and Coquitlam. Thank you for joining us today, Zoe.
Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. I am truly delighted to be here. And as your new Member of Parliament for Port Moody-Coquitlam, I recognize the vital role that community and multicultural media play in keeping citizens informed, engaged, and connected. And now more than ever, with the prevalence of American media, with the disinformation that is out there, it is absolutely essential, this role that Korean omnichannel and Iranian omnichannel play in protecting our democracy.
Very nice. Well, you answer, I think, my first question, but I'm just going to, ask you, maybe you have more details to give me, because our discussion today is the importance of local media and local television and how they can be the voice of local people, right? Yes. Now, in your view, what role does the community television play in supporting democracy and civic engagement in Canada?
Thank you for the question. And it's a really important question. And often today, local news media is shrinking. It's disappearing. And for citizens to hear perspectives in their own voices, there's a sense of trust. And it really is, it's an essential service to communities, especially with diverse voices. So this is a huge, it's really essential. It's very, very important. And I'd just like to hearken back to an event that I attended last night. It was called Save Our Local News. Oh. And it was by a group of local journalists that were involved in Tri-City News, Burnaby Now, and the new Westminster Record. And those newspapers, you might recall, folded earlier this year. And that was a huge loss for our communities. There was no journalistic integrity for the covering of the election in this last cycle. And what that meant is that disinformation was more prevalent than ever. But four journalists got together. They have a combined, I want to say, 120 years of experience in local news. Credible reporting, fact-checked, multiple sources, unbiased reporting. And they are now founders of a future newspaper. So that's really, really important. And three of us, members of Parliament, there, as you know, Sherry, there are three federal ridings that all converge in Coquitlam. So myself with Port Moody-Coquitlam, Ron McKinnon with Port Coquitlam, and Jake Sawatsky, new Liberal MP for the riding of Mayardville, Burnaby, and New West. So we were all there. And I want you to know that I asked this question about the importance of saving local news. And I also spoke about Parvaz TV.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And we are all fully behind you. We are advocating. So it's essential that we do. We support you.
Now, how can community television better serve groups and communities that are often overlooked by mainstream news outlets?
Yes. I think that mainstream news outlets report national headlines, but they're missing the local stories, the storytelling about local citizens that's important to us in this community. And I know that, for example, the CBC is hungry to really disperse some of the local stories, but they don't have the capacity to do that without some of the credible news outlets, right? So it's really working in partnership. But it's so important, that storytelling. And we are a mosaic of cultures that represent the Iranian community, the Korean community, and many, many other ethnic communities, right? That is what makes Canada vibrant and strong and resilient, and making sure that people have access to multicultural community media, meeting them where they are in their own perspectives is it's absolutely essential.
Yeah.
So, but that is what we need to all get behind and support.
Now, that leads me to my next question
Yes.
about the government. Now, do you believe the government of Canada recognizes the unique contributions that community and multicultural media make to Canadian society?
Yes, I absolutely do. And this was a question that I put yesterday to our heritage
Canadian
desk.
heritage, yeah.
Yes. Just to make because I believed it. I believe that we do, but I wanted to.
But they're cutting down the budgets, the Canadian heritage.
Yeah. But just to make sure that we're on track. So, and maybe this will venture into some other questions, Sherry. But we're a new government. Mark Carney and many of us have been in the role for not very long. We had 3.5 weeks, maybe, in Parliament. We passed some incredible, lofty legislation. 34 votes took place during that time. We know that we don't have all of the details fleshed out for what budget will be available. But I can tell you that as a new member of the Federal Heritage Committee, I will be a strong advocate for you. So believe you me, this is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I support. I was a locally elected 14 years. So 11 years on Port Moody City Council, 3 years really as a school board trustee. It's something that I will be constantly advocating, more funding, breaking down barriers to distribution, right? Making sure that you have the supports that you need, making sure that credible journalism, that journalists receive fair wages. It's an important part of my work.
That's nice to hear. Now, is there any consideration within the federal government to allocate the maintainable budget for multicultural and community broadcasters such as Omni TV?
Yes. So first and foremost, our government was successful in ensuring that Google contribute $100 million back to our local media every year. So that's number one. That money is really earmarked to support local diverse media. So that's number one. And if you don't mind, I'll read a few because there's a lot here. I am confident that at this point, we will continue the Journalism Labor Tax Credit. And of course, that's for qualified Canadian journalism organizations. There is also the Canada Periodical Fund, and that's financial assistance. So that's funding to Canadian print magazines, print community, newspapers, but also digital periodicals. There is the Local Journalism Initiative. And I know that there's several $1 million earmarked for these programs. The Changing Narratives Fund. And that one is really about supporting diverse communities. So this is just sort of existing. I haven't heard talks of cutting those. But as I said, we were in government for 3.5 weeks. There's been a very fluid geopolitical situation happening, as we all know, that has demanded the PM's attention. But moving forward, when we are back in Parliament, when we are passing our budget this fall, I will do everything that I can. And I know that I have the support of MP McKinnon and MP Sawatsky for this cause.
Yeah. Now,
maintaining and strengthening. Just saying. Just saying.
You know, that would be nice if you could actually have the maintainable budget, as you were mentioning before. Sustainable.
Funding.
Exactly.
versus
Exactly.
one-time seed.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Now, what measure could be taken to support independent local producers like us who work hard to bring forward the stories for excluded or underserved communities like Korean communities, Persian communities, Indian communities?
Yes, and I think it's really working as in partnership. I want you to know that I'm here to listen.
Yes.
And I don't want our communities and through their media, through the sharing of their stories, I don't want you to feel alone. So I'm hoping that we can go on this journey hand in hand and that I can continue to learn what's important, where your gaps are as we move through the next budget process. I hope that this isn't just a one-off. Perhaps we can commit to meeting every few months.
That would be nice.
I'd like that very, very much if you'll have me. But I really want to be your ear and also your voice, because you help to amplify what the citizens in our communities care about. I need to bring your voice to Ottawa if I am to represent you to the best of my ability. And I am absolutely committed to doing a really good job in this role.
Yeah. Now, how do you see community media fitting into Canada's wider media and cultural policies? As you know, the wider media like, global TV, CTV News. So community TV is a smaller local media. What do you see? What is your, reflect on that?
I think our national media are really hurting for these stories right now, because so many local news outlets have dissolved, right? So they're kind of trying to grab for scraps. It's hurting our whole country, right? It really, really is. Our government can play a role in making sure that we are supporting local, independent, credible journalism that reflects the voices of diverse communities, so that CBC and Global and some of these mainstream giants, if you will, have stories that they can feed into their news outlet. I wanted to share this. You might know that I am co-chair of the Art Shuffle in Port Moody, and it's a local art walk that started back in 2018. And last year, we had the privilege in the space that I was curating in Moody Center, we had the privilege of featuring a local Iranian artist, Gulriz Resmani. Actually in the very same space, Sherry, that I saw you. With Roham Bamanish.
Yes.
Right? I was in my former office down the hall, hearing all this wonderful laughter and chatter and excitement. And I think there was about 30 friends gathered from the Iranian community. And you invited me in, and I would have loved to have stayed and had a meal. You were so kind and so hospitable. I couldn't stay. But in that very space, I curated the artwork of Gulriz Resmani in an exhibition. She had about 25 2D pieces of art to share. And when I went to her studio to look at her works and select what I would be putting in the exhibition, she showed me some pieces. She had 3 pieces from the Women, Life, Freedom movement in Iran. And I said, "What are these?" And she said, "I wasn't going to show you because they're not relevant." And I said, "Are you kidding? This is Women, Life, Freedom.
They are relevant.
Last year.
Yeah.
And I said, "They are absolutely relevant." I said, "In fact, I'd like to make them the showpiece of the art exhibition, have them front and center when people come up the stairs to that space." It's in a heritage building, so unfortunately it's not fully accessible.
I've been there, I know.
You've been there.
Yeah, I know.
But to have those pieces featured and to tell the story, to keep it relevant. And so maybe that is something, because in your local news,
Mm-hmm.
you are reflecting what is still important to Iranian families
Yeah.
in the community. I mean, that is absolutely still top of mind. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not being reported necessarily frequently enough in national media, that's a tragedy. And that is where the connectivity needs to exist, right? So making sure that you have access
The engagement
to the distribution of your news through maybe some of these larger outlets. So we want to keep you strong, keep you whole, keep you successful. Korean TV, reaching people where you are. The Korean community is an incredibly important community right here in the Tri-Cities, as is the Iranian community and other groups. It's essential that we work with you and tell these stories.
Exactly.
We can't let them die, and they need to stay relevant. So that's my personal view.
Well, thank you. Now, how can the federal government, going back to the government again now, can collaborate more effectively with grassroots of media organization to amplify local and diverse stories?
Yeah, and I guess that just comes back to sort of a funding and accessibility question. And these are things, actually, with your help, I would like to bring to the Heritage Committee and also to our caucus, to our Prime Minister, who is also new in the role. And if you've read Prime Minister Carney's book, Values from 2021, he speaks to the tenets of fairness and accountability and responsibility and humility, and really wanting to sort of serve the greater good. And I don't know that he was thinking about this role at that time. That was 2021. Maybe he was, but it's an important book. So I think that he is also finding his voice. And I hope to see that reflected in our budgets, in our policies. And I will certainly be advocating for that. So.
Yeah. We talked about the budget. We talked about, the art, or as you said,
The arts.
the large outlets, mainstream. Now, what is your view for the community, challenges for the community televisions that they are facing in Canada right now or today? And how might the government help to address that? So you're the government and we're the local media. And what the challenges is not only the budget. So what do you see?
Well, I certainly mentioned distribution challenges, accessibility challenges, making sure that this remains free to your readers as best as you can, right? To keep that accessibility piece. But I guess, Sherry, maybe, you as the
journalist,
perhaps you could share with me some of the challenges, because I can talk about what I think are the challenges, and I've shared some of those in the series of questions. But maybe I could also hear from you.
Well, the challenges that we are facing, there you go. The challenges that we are facing is not only the budget, is just the place that we are renting, or the location for our studios, or who's watching our channel, even with omni-channel, or if you are on, because before we were Shaw, and then Shaw closes, and now we are with omni-channel, and then, so these are the broadcasting of, our news outlets. Those are the challenging that we are facing now. Not only just budget, because if you don't have the budget, we don't have the studio. If you don't have the budget, we don't have the cameras. We cannot hire cameramans, editors, and we cannot base our work only on volunteer basis. You know what I mean? Because anybody wants to come and work with us, we have to pay them for editors, for cameramans.
Agreed.
So these are the challenges we all are facing. And I know that this is related to budget eventually, but you mentioned hopefully we get some supporting from you and your colleague.
Absolutely. Well, I guess it's not only funding, but as you said, it helps support good jobs for journalists so that they don't need to find work elsewhere, so that it doesn't become like a gig, a gig in the gig economy, that they're good, well-paying jobs that have job security. And studio space costs money. So, I mean, I keep hammering on the funding piece because I know that it's the jet fuel for a lot of work, a lot of things that you need to do. But I certainly understand that. Having opened 3 small businesses in this community myself, I know what it is to sort of hope that you can pay your staff, keep the lights on, and keep serving the community in important ways. So I'm fully with you. But I don't see this as sort of me telling you what you need, right? It really is about you telling me what you need.
We need your support,
right? But in all of these ways, I guess it's kind of like peeling an onion. There's many nuances to this, but like I said, I think funding is the driver, right? So, in terms of amplifying your voice, as you do for so many others in the community, that's what I hope to do for you.
Yeah. Now, looking ahead.
Yes.
Let's say, what opportunity do you see for supporting community television and ensuring that multicultural and independent voices remain an important part of Canadian media, especially within the larger multicultural broadcasters like Omni TV? Now, and specifically, how can you, as a member of a parliament, support and be the voice for community TV producers in these efforts?
Yeah, so one of the ways that I can do that is through our member statements. And those are things that are broadcast through CPAC and other avenues. Certainly speaking to the importance at our Heritage Committee. Supporting you, I hope, in meeting with you on a regular basis, right? And just making sure that I'm on the right track, right? So you're kind of my accountability checker or my report card, because I want to make sure that I do a really good job. And really continuing to support saving local media, because if you're still alive, you're probably operating on a shoestring.
Yep.
Okay. And when you shutter your doors, it can be very, very difficult to bring you back. And I know that in some cases, it's not just paying your team that are doing an incredible job for you and keeping the lights on, but it's making sure that you can also do research, that you can advocate, that you can be in many places representing the community, not just maybe working a few hours a week, right? Because you're shrinking.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you're alive and well and strong. And to me, that makes sure that our prospective communities are alive and well and strong.
Well, Zoe, this is our job, right?
Yes.
Being a journalist, having a local media, we don't have a side job. We don't have a side job saying that there is this job that we're doing, and then our spare time we're doing a local media. No, this is our job. So it's a full-time job, and we're not working 3 or 4 hours a day or a week.
No.
You know what I mean? We're working like full-time.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes we're working more than what other people, the pay job
more
does.
Than 17 hours a day. Because a lot of, we're doing an interview now, but I know that 1 hour filming is worth 10 or 15 hours.
That's right.
In the editing studio. I know this. No, absolutely. This is your job. This is your passion. And it's a noble one. And I also wanted to say, it's certainly the operation costs, but it's also the capital investment.
Correct.
Of keeping your equipment. Sometimes, like I know that CPAC, which is a highly respected news outlet in Canada, they are having to go on eBay to replace their HDR cards for their aging equipment. Right? I mean, it's extraordinary what you are doing to keep the cameras rolling. And I know that it's not a couple hours a week. I guess that was probably more a statement to the former than the much loved Tri-City News, is that they started to they started to minimize their reporting. They had to because their budgets were shrinking. So I don't want that to happen here.
Yeah, hopefully. What is your message to our viewers?
Thanks so much. Merci, Sherry. I really hope that we can walk hand in hand on this journey. And it is so important that we support, that our government and that all of us support local, community, multicultural media that is so close to home, that is our storytelling, that is in our own voice, in our own perspective. So important. And I am a steadfast champion for this. So you can count on me. And let's meet again. Let's meet again sooner rather than later. So I hope that that all of your viewers will continue to support you as well. Subscribe, whatever they need to do. Sometimes that can help with a funding piece by showcasing how many subscribers you have, right? Doesn't hurt. But I'm here for you. It's important to me that I do a really, really good job in making sure that our community's voices are heard. And that includes the beautiful, vibrant, cultural, traditional communities of the Iranian people, the Korean people. And I'm just so thankful that you all help make Canada great. So let's walk hand in hand in this journey and support one another.
Well, thank you, Zoe, very much for joining us today and giving us your insight and your support for local media television. Thank you for watching. My name is Sher Sultani, Parvaz TV and KTV Television. Until next time.